Well, welcome back to AI After 50. Mark Tennant back with you, and this is the podcast for experienced professionals ready to learn AI and develop those practical AI skills. Next to me is my pal John Paganini, and if you're over 50, this is the podcast for you to become AI literate, confident, and professionally indispensable. Before we get to the introductions, I want to talk about the goal of the podcast. Always the goal of the podcast. We're learning together, all of us. And we're here to understand the basic concept first, and then we're going to go from there. We've done a few in the last 5 episodes, but we're going to continue on now. We are back. And we're going to apply what we learn each week, and we're going to roll it over to the next week. Plus, we have a little bit of homework in between weeks. Show notes, don't forget about the show notes. You can download those, but if you download the premium show notes, we get a little bit deeper. We give you a little bit more prompts that we have on the show that we feature and different things that we're talking about, a little more in depth on the premium show notes. And of course, any new news, you'll be alerted to that, so you won't have to worry about anything else. It'll go right to your inbox. So it brings us to this episode. Last February, when we were together last, and I know I heard from a lot of you, the one thing that I thought was missing was something, and I just wasn't sure. But over the last couple of years, my buddy John, right next to me, I thought, first of all, could I get him to do it? Can I get him to commit weekly to something like this? And as we
Says
talked
yes.
about it, as we talked about it more and more, we decided to do this, and we are going to come at you every week. And what's really nice, and I'll let John tell you quickly about himself and his background. But with my background, that tech guy, da da da, content guy, and everything else. And then, of course, we've been doing this for the last 3 years. But John and I have been working together for a couple of years. We've done some things
Yep.
and we're working on projects. John is my business partner. So I thought, why not bring him onto the podcast? So, if you will, big applause for my buddy John Paganini right over here. John, welcome.
What a
Here we
nice
are.
introduction. Nice introduction, Mark. Thanks. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this series. We've done some presentations together, both at colleges and Chamber of Commerce, and really the reception has been good, and people want to learn more about AI and what's going on. And certainly, you and I, Mark, are involved in many different AI initiatives, especially locally here in our fine city of Cleveland in Northern Ohio. Myself being very focused on AI in healthcare specifically, and that is really an exciting space.
It is. And we have a lot of healthcare folks, people that work in healthcare over 50 that have watched all over the world. So it's great.
Great, great. Yeah, so we'll be going way beyond healthcare, of course, because AI is touching every single industry, and that's where it gets exciting. And what really gets exciting is if you look at what maybe healthcare is doing, you say, I wonder if we could do that in retail business, or if we can spin that over into the financing area or manufacturing. And that's where we see these cross functional threads of AI applying in many different areas. And it's like that in any industry, especially with IT. What's going on in this industry with AI in this case is also going to be relevant in this industry here with some slight changes. And so that's when it gets exciting.
So, what we're going to do every week, and here's the what's in it for you part. When you come every week, we're going to kind of talk about our favorite topics of the last week from the last time we had spoke with you, and we're going to talk about our takes on those kind of things and why we think it pertains to you and us after 50 folks. A lot of us have to work for another 10 or 15 years, and you've got to know this stuff, and now is the time to do it. We can do
Sure.
it as a group. So what we'll do is we'll share our latest news and what we think is important to you. We're going to run through a couple of exercises. We will do probably some prompting every week, talk about different things that we've worked on during the week. Because when John and I go out and we just network with our folks, it's great to hear what other people are doing with this. And I think you will get the same thing. One of the biggest things we want out of you is, what do you want to see here on the podcast? What do you want us to cover? Maybe your industry, your job, those types of things, maybe how it could help you. Are you worried about AI? What are your concerns? These are the things we want to talk about, and this is what we'll talk about every week here on the podcast.
Yeah, Mark, that was a good point. And really, the goal is to how can we help you on your AI journey? incorporate it into your life. It's here and it's not going away. And of course, the investments that are being made in AI are just unbelievable numbers, trillions and trillions of dollars being put into it. And the competition is really tough right now. And so everybody's upping their game. When one vendor will come up with a new version, it'll be smarter than the other for a while, and then the next one jumps in. And so Mark and I want to keep you abreast of what's going on and help eliminate some of the, I guess, the industry's buzz and trends that are going on, and maybe cut through the hype and get right to what's really important for you and what's going to be helpful, and maybe make some decisions on what tools you may be interested in using in certain cases.
And we'll talk
Is-
about the tools that we use because
Exactly.
and we don't use every tool. They're out there, we're with them and we play with a lot of them, but we don't use them all. The one thing that I learned last week, and I'm not even sure if I told this about John, but I mean it's something that actually applies because when John and I talk, it's like, "Oh, did you see this? Or have you tried this? Or I
Sure.
tried this and this came out and I thought this worked well and maybe what didn't work well." So I think that pretty much covers what we're here. We're here for you. And anybody that's over 50, everybody's welcome, of course. But we just see that need of people that are over 50 starting to kind of worry about their jobs. And you see it every day now. I mean, it's funny, John, because there was a birthday yesterday on November 30th. This is being recorded on December 1st, Monday, 2025. And ChatGPT turned 3 years old. Can you believe that? 3 years old?
Yeah.
Already? Talk about the first time that somebody told you about it, or you
Yeah,
found it, or how did you?
wonder how that happened, Mark. I wish I did. I wish I could recall the first time I used it and why, but I remember obviously being blown away. And it was over 2 years ago, and probably three. And if you think about that investment, and right from the very beginning, once I tried it, um, I drank the Kool-Aid because it was producing
Yeah.
amazing information that um, is in so many ways is way beyond what at least from a time, there's so many aspects of it. One is how much time it is saving. So for ChatGPT specifically, that $20 a month is such a good investment, and I've reaped so much ROI from that over the years, both in personal and business. And so, even in the software company that I have, one of the things I did is create a chatbot for the software. So we gave it all of the frequently asked questions, the manuals, all the information that we've had for 20 years of documentation. So we fed that into this chatbot, and now there's a help desk chatbot on the application. You click a button and say, "How do I schedule my crews?" It's software for landscaping and snow removal. So all of that information now comes out very nicely, and sometimes it's too much. In fact, I was on the phone with a user today, and I said, "Let's ask the Chat GPT about that." And it said, "Oh my gosh, so much information." So I said, "Try saying, 'Tell me that in 3 sentences.'" And
Yes.
so all of a sudden it was, "Oh, I can do that?" And so that realization of how to use AI and prompting it a little bit smarter sometimes can be very helpful. So I don't remember, Mark, the first time. I wish I did, and that would be an interesting thing to look back on and go, "Oh, my first prompt."
I,
Do
I,
you remember yours?
I
What's
do.
the
I
story?
do. And the only reason I remember this, I was at a crypto conference in San Diego, California, and it was November of 2022. And I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody that was there that said, "Hey, I got early access to this thing called Chat something." They didn't even remember what the name was, but it is AI and it is unbelievable. You can ask it anything. You could ask it to write anything. You could ask it to practically do anything with text, and it will do it, and with great accuracy. And what's so funny about that whole thing is, and we've heard it a bunch of times, and maybe you've heard it, viewing or watching, that this is the least capable AI you will ever know. And at the time, that was 3.0, 3.5. I don't even know what the version number was, but just where we've came in the
Those three.
last 3 years is unbelievable. And it is so worth the $20 that I'm still paying a
Yep,
month.
me too.
And we don't make any money off this. We're not here to sell ChatGPT, Gemini, or any of the tools. I just can't believe it. February of 2023 is when they came out with the paid model, and that's when we started paying for it. I just thought it was very interesting that was yesterday, and then this past week we've had Gemini 3 come out, which by all accounts, and even my own, I've worked with it for the last 4 or 5 days. It's as big as ChatGPT was when it came out. The reason I say that, with Google, and it has its workspace, it has its search, it has, everything that Google has. Everything in the Google ecosystem is now tied to the latest Gemini, including Nano Banana, which is their image generator that just got a huge upgrade a couple of weeks ago. And I know John has been using Nano Banana. I've used it a few times, but what's really nice about Nano Banana, in case you don't know, it's a text or speech to image, but the images it generates are unbelievable. And it's not just like pictures or something a pretty winter scene with Santa riding through the snow. No, you could actually take products that you have thought of and they're in their infancy stage, and you could say, I want this to maybe look like this. What is the user interface going to look like with something like this? And you can just tell Nano Banana that, and it will come up with some ideas for you. It's not the greatest right now, but I have known a few people that took their UIs for their different software that they've developed, actually this last week, and they were able to develop a new user interface that they thought was so much nicer, so much friendlier.
You haven't even seen it yet, but that's exactly what I'm doing with Nano Banana. And that is within where that started was the Google AI Studio, which I'm using to do the coding. And I was actually coding when it went from 2.5 to 3.0. And so I haven't seen a dramatic difference as you're referring to, but it's better. It's definitely better in its programming and how it thinks about it and how it responds and what it's producing ultimately. But yeah, I concur. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that Christmas because I did that for our newsletter. I actually put a car in a picture and I said surround it with a big Christmas tree on a road, and it came up with a fantastic image. So the quality of Nano Banana is, in fact, probably the best that there is now on the market compared to other image text to image generators. And of course, one tip there is when you're generating an image, you can actually ask the AI to first create a prompt for what you're looking for, and it'll expand on that and give it the detail it really needs to get a better picture other than typing in I want a Christmas tree. It'll put in, with colorful bulbs. It'll just add the extra aspect of that picture that just brings it totally to life and photorealistic as well. So yeah, so Google AI Studio, an excellent tool for development, and it's got in cases like Nano Banana, it's got some great tools built in. You can do voice to text and build that in as well. So there's a lot of tools that are available in Google AI Studio if you want to build your own apps or web page, whatever you want to do there. So as we were saying earlier, Mark, each tool has its specialties in a sense. So there's a time and a place for ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
just
but
one of those.
I know people are using it.
Yep. And
So,
Gemini, I will say this, the free version of Gemini, so gemini.google.com, you could use Nano Banana. It is in place in the free version right now. And by the way, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini all have free versions that you could use right now, and they're very robust. And it's a great way to get your feet wet without spending any money at all. It's a great way to teach yourself these things. It's a great way to come to our podcast, AI After 50, learn a little bit more about prompting. And John was talking about that. And there may be some folks that go prompting, like what is all that about? Telling the AI what you want it to do. And
sure.
I'm not the greatest orator in the world or writer in the world. So what John suggested was have the AI help you and write that perfect prompt or near perfect prompt to where you could actually go into an image generator like Nano Banana, or even just the chatbot like ChatGPT or Gemini. We're going to also talk about prompt frameworks, the
Yep.
probably the best way in the best
Methodologies. Yep.
situation to talk to these things. How can we learn together? What is it something you've discovered and you want the world to know? Let's do it through AI After 50, this podcast, and let's all learn together. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now after this episode number 5 or 6 that we've done. Number one for my new pal, our new buddy, John Paganini, here on the podcast.
Yeah, I like the and I hope we get some good feedback on tell me about whatever with AI. And in the meantime, we'll also be giving our favorite tips of the day, and we kind of touched on that. You know, you can use AI to help you build the prompt to get the output that you're looking for. And we'll talk about some methodologies and approaches in the future, you know, but basically you absolutely want to tell AI what the role that you want it to play is in its output so that it knows it's a marketing director or an HR expert, and that sets the stage for how it kind of frames the output that it's going to generate for you.
Or a doctor or a nuclear scientist,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
whatever. Absolutely.
So all of this, so to be able to hear all of this is one thing, and we're just happy as hell you're joining us. And we have a YouTube channel as well, AI After 50. We have the podcast that you're listening to now, and we have show notes. And I wanted to talk about the show notes. We did at the top of the show. Show notes with every single episode. You can get them wherever you're getting your podcast at. But if you subscribe to our premium show notes, not only do they come to your inbox, but we also go a little bit deeper on those premium show notes. And if we're showing you some prompts and different things, we'll give you more examples. And we're just going to go a little bit deeper than we're able to go in the show. And it is with the premium show notes. And wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, you can click on that and subscribe to the premium show notes. And we would just love to have you. And after that, John, I'd say some parting thoughts for the week. What do you have?
One thing I learned this week is to stick with the AI when it's not generating the output you're looking for. So the more you use it, the better you get at talking to it and getting out of it what you want in your request for output. And that is a skill actually that just comes over usage and time. And you'll see if you're using different tools and maybe there's no reason to use more than one AI tool. You really get used to using one, and that's the one you stick with because you get to know it and it gets to know you, and all of that history is maintained. All that memory of what you've gone through with it already is retained, and you don't have to say, "Remember we did this 1 month ago." It's just there now. It's remembering. It's getting smarter and smarter. So I think, Mark, if there's a thought there, it's just stay with it. You'll get it. And there's a couple approaches. You know, you can start with a big request, like I need a resume. But then you could, the better you get at it, the better your first prompt is going to be to get the output you're looking for. Like I need a resume about um, being whatever it is, and you give it the detail you need right then in one prompt, and you get closer. But you can start at a high level and then drill down till you get exactly what you're looking for. And you'll find as your knowledge and comfort grows in talking to AI, and again, you can talk to AI like we're talking here. It's just has that natural language processing that it does so well.
And that's why it does so well. We always just say, talk to the AI.
Yeah,
And with
just
that,
giving it talk to your hand.
next week we will be back. And we are back bigger than better than ever. And we're so happy you could join us. So for John Paganini, this is Mark Tennant saying, thanks so much, AI After 50. Please subscribe and come back next week. We'd love to have you. Take care.
Great. Thanks.